Career year for other insiders was just yesterday for my dog, Adam Schefter. And apparently, Shefty, there's some news coming out of Kansas City today.
The biggest news of all this week, RC, in a time when the NFL is making hundreds of roster moves. The biggest transaction came recently when Travis Kelce proposed to Taylor Swift. Everybody been waiting for this news. It might have been as expected. It doesn't make it any less dramatic. This is huge news, a big development for the future Hall of Fame tight end in Kansas City. He looks very happy, RC, doesn't he? Very happy. He and Taylor look very happy. And now we can say that Jason Kelce, our colleague Jason Kelce, is going to be the brother-in-law of the great entertainer Taylor Swift. What a love story. What an ending. What a move in a week filled with them. That is the biggest move that we've seen this week.
Hey, I tell you what, the rich get richer. Way to go, Trail.
Yeah, talk about swinging for the fences and hitting a home run, man.
Hey, welcome to NFL Live. You already heard my boy Adam Schefter. We have Damian Woody and Dan Orlovsky here with me. I mean, Dan, you know, when you're Travis Kelce and you're going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, you're one of the greatest players to ever play, it's difficult to marry up.
He did. You can't marry down, that's for sure. Listen, all jokes aside, I watched the podcast that was on New Heights with Travis, Jason, and her. I thought she was awesome. I hope they get married. I hope they're married forever. I hope they have a bunch of kids, and have just an awesome life together in that regard. They seem great. So,
to me, listen,
congrats.
I want to see people be happy.
No doubt.
And when you looked at both of them on the New Heights podcast, she was happy, Travis was happy. They're two people that love each other, and I'm so glad that all the people that were part of this is a publicity stunt camp,
we're wrong,
now have egg on their face. But let's get to real football. My hometown team finally named a starting quarterback. Adam, what can you tell us about New Orleans' decision?
RC, Kellen Moore, the Saints head coach, announced this afternoon that the Saints' new starting quarterback will be one Spencer Rattler. He gets the nod over the rookie second-round draft pick Tyler Shuck. They're going to head into the regular season opener with Rattler at the helm. And Rattler played pretty well. It's not like one of these quarterbacks outplayed the other by a drastic amount this summer, but it was enough for Rattler to win the job. And I think when you talk to people around the league, they believe that essentially it'll be easier to go from Rattler to Shuck one day than to start with Shuck, bench him, and go to Rattler.
Yeah, that's the reason why I always felt, or at least as this preseason has gone on, Spencer Rattler would be and should be the starting quarterback. He had some bright moments as well. Shefty's right that neither quarterback stood out in this regard. But week 2 of the preseason, he led an awesome comeback late where he got hot. He's as talented throwing the football as a lot of guys that we know in this league. And now he's got a decent opportunity with an offensive-minded head coach and is still a very young and promising receiver in Chris Olave. I would highly suspect Tyler Shuck plays at some point this year. But Spencer Rattler's got an opportunity to be the starting quarterback, and now it's up to him to make the most of it.
Yeah, Dan, just to piggyback off that, we know that Spencer Rattler is a very talented guy, but ultimately we know that Tyler Shuck, obviously the draft pick from this year, he's going to see the field at some point. And I think Adam said it perfectly. You rather go from a veteran to the rookie rather than a rookie and bench the rookie and go to the veteran. So at some point this year, Tyler Shuck's going to see the field. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, absolutely. When Tyler Shuck was coming out this year, I mean, Redick couldn't have been higher on what his potential could be as a starting quarterback in this league. But we forget sometimes who Spencer Rattler was, whether it was at Oklahoma or South Carolina before he was drafted in the 5th round. Incredibly strong arm, incredibly talented. But Tyler Shuck is a guy who I expect to see the field at some point this year, because if you're Kellen Moore, you have to know headed into next year, is your franchise quarterback of the future actually in your building? And if he isn't, you need to move on and figure out who that is.
Totally.
No, that wasn't the only business of today. By 4 p.m. Eastern, they have to be down. Every roster needs to be down to 53. Adam, what notable cuts should we know about?
RC, we saw a slew of notable cuts across the league today. Older players, younger players. Here are some of the big names from today, leading off with the Giants quarterback, Tommy Cutlets DeVito. put on waivers today, essentially in New York. Desmond Ridder let go. Jake Haener in New Orleans. Deontay Johnson, the former Steelers, Browns wide receiver. Another wide receiver, Malachi Corley, Clyde Edwards-Helaire in New Orleans. McCole Hardman, Jalen Mills, Hunter Renfrow, Robert Woods, KJ Hamler, Carson Steele. Those are some of the names. They're still coming in right now. The Browns released their veteran kicker, Dustin Hopkins. They're going to go with a younger kicker right now. So, again, huge moves. They're still coming in. As for the Cincinnati Bengals, they get their deal done with Trey Hendrickson. Give him a raise this year, a $14 million raise. He now will become a free agent after the season. He gets more money this season, and if the Bengals decide to tag him after this year, he plays at the same level he did last year, that tag will be close to $35 million. So Hendrickson will be okay there if he does get the tag, or he'll get to test the market. But the Bengals get back the man that led the NFL in sacks last year, and they need some defensive help. Hendrickson should provide that.
Listen, Trey Hendrickson said he was not playing under the current deal, and he shouldn't have. He had 57 sacks since he joined the Bengals in 2021, and that's tied for fifth most sacks in the player's first 4 years with any team since individual sacks became official in 1982. And now, out of the 4 that have more than him, 3 of those dudes are Hall of Famers. That's Reggie White, newly minted Jared Allen, and Derek Thomas. You know, Dan, we felt like this was something that the Bengals needed to take care of. But Trey Hendrickson is back. This is still a defense we saw struggle in the preseason. What can we expect from Al Golden's group this year?
Starting point is, will they tackle better? We talked about it all last season. This was one of the worst tackling defenses that we would watch week by week on tape. In contrast, we all felt that the Philadelphia Eagles went on to rout the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, was the best tackling defense. And my concern, RC, is we get rid of Lou Anarumo as the defense coordinator. We bring in Al Golden, who's as good a defensive mind as there is, and in the preseason, they're tackling poorly again. This is a defense that's got a very young back seven, both from their linebacker and their secondary level. So I don't think it's this, we have to figure out new scheme. Candidly, it's back to basics, back to fundamentals. There's got to be a toughness brought, there's got to be a physicality brought, and there's got to be some old school tackling principles brought. The physical talent, the athleticism, I think it's there, but they got to play the basics of defense a lot better.
Yeah, listen, when I look at the Cincinnati Bengals, it's not about talent. Like, they've got some talented guys over there, but Dan, you hit it. It's the fundamentals, it's the tackling group, it's the tackling for the Cincinnati Bengals, because quite honestly, they were atrocious last year as far as tackling is concerned. Now, getting Trey Hendrickson back in the mix is a big deal, but let's not forget, last year they were bad. They were bad defense with Trey Hendrickson. If this defense could just be average, okay, that could be night and day for the outcome of the Cincinnati Bengals. So remember, the Cincinnati Bengals were 3-4 when they scored 33 points in a game. So if this group just elevates to average, the Cincinnati Bengals team, we'll be talking about them as one of the better teams in the AFC in the postseason.
I mean, I feel like we're just assuming, though, that this offense is going to be able to carry this defense. You talked about the amount of times they scored 30-plus, D. Wood, and we still watch them lose games. I mean, so vividly to me is Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow absolutely losing their minds against the Baltimore Ravens 2 times and losing both of those games. And so for this defense, it's going to start with physicality. We can talk about all the talent they have, but if Al Golden doesn't have a complete culture change on the way that they approach football, I don't know how it gets better.
And you know the connectivity of a football team, and Joe's amazing, pass game's amazing. I think it's going to be interesting to watch the start of the season and just how Joe Burrow plays, because as a quarterback, when you know you have a defense that can't stop anybody, you live in a world of, I have to go be aggressive.
And you got to do it every snap.
Exactly. And so maybe you are overly aggressive with some of your decision makings because you're thinking, I have to go score. Whereas you have a great defense, you'll be a little bit more cautious and less aggressive. And so does Joe Burrow start off this season and maybe a throw gets away from him because he's trying to force it in the fourth quarter and ends up being a pick? I'm not making excuses. It's just when you know you got to be that aggressive, it changes the way you play.
Yeah, and I think the other piece of it is, look at that preseason game, and we both said this is not how Joe Burrow plays. But could that be some of the effective thinking? Maybe at some point this year, I'm going to have to go above and beyond the X's and O's more than I ever have. But hey, guys, we are just getting started here, joined by Seth Wickersham. Man, in order to have a second chance, that means the first one didn't work out. Seth, why do you think teams are so impatient when it comes to quarterbacks?
Well, really quick, I know it's a big day for tight ends, but Travis Kelce, high school quarterback.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what.
I think there's other news as well.
I think that context matters, and as much as we like to pretend that it doesn't, it really does. And just what we said in that piece, like, stability matters. And as few quarterbacks are good in the NFL and as few become great, there are about the same number of coaches who know offense and know how to coach the position and know how to scout it. And I think that, like, we forget, we're so quick to write these guys off as busts when they're in systemic problems. And again, if they can go to a team and learn from a really good coach and get a little bit of a reset, I think that, like, there's an entire economy that's proven that's like a place for these second chance guys.
Yeah, I think one of the points that Seth makes is, like, this is not be disrespectful, but I just don't think a lot of people know how to truly coach the position, and truly understand the tax that's on those guys. And one of the things, RC, is all those guys you kind of talked about are big-time early draft picks.
Yeah.
So there's talent there. Why did they make it at the second spot? Number one, they don't allow that first failure to break them. I think doubt becomes a very real thing for those young players. And, a lot of guys cave to it as maybe I can't play, maybe I don't belong. And so the